What's up, YouTube? It's Rochelle Tannen. It's 10:08 p.m. on December 30th, 2023 on the East Coast. I hope everyone had a very good Christmas. I'm doing some end of the year clean out myself on this New Year's weekend. I want to jump on and do a quick video. Probably do about 2 or 3 more videos before year's end. But this video I want to do definitely before the end of the year. I wanted to review and talk about the new song Lovin' on Me by Jack Harlow. In my past videos, I told you guys I'm a huge music fan. I always have been since I was a little girl. From digging in my father's records to buying my own music. I still pay for music. I believe artists should always be paid. Um, but I am so impressed by this new song. I I've had it on repeat mostly the whole weekend. Now, I had heard snippets of Lovin' on Me on YouTube and different shorts and things. So I had to look up what this song was. And it was Jack Harlow. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I slept on Jack Harlow. Now, I knew who Jack Harlow was, not just from his song that samples Glamorous by Fergie. I like to read each year or every other year now the double XL freshman class to see who's coming in the rap game. And I remember him from 2020 because of that damn curly hair. But I never really gave his music a listen. This song, Lovin' on Me, his producer did a phenomenal job of picking a sample that absolutely stumped me. And not just me. I read the comments on the video of this song. A lot of 90s people, we don't remember that song. But I have a feeling I know why. In the 80s, when President Reagan canceled all the regulation for the radio stations and things, the deregulation was going into the 90s. So in the 90s, it was possible for artists to put out a song and it not reach the rest of the country. Now, the original song's name is Whatever, and I had to really do some reading for this artist, and the original song's on the Cadillac Dale Show channel here on YouTube. To my understanding, that song Whatever was a huge hit in Detroit, but I'm from the East Coast. We never got it back in 95. And that was very possible because in the 90s, I went to 2 middle schools, 2 high schools between the North and the South. So there were times I remember listening to music in North Carolina, getting back to Connecticut, and nobody listened to the shit I was listening to because everything wasn't so corporately owned like it is today. If you hear a Taylor Swift song today in California, you're going to hear it here on the East Coast because all the radio stations are pretty much owned now by 6 entities, but it wasn't like that. I can remember in the early 90s and 92 going to 2 different middle schools. And I used to love TLC when I was 12 years old. Love, love, love TLC. I would go down south and everyone was listening to TLC, but I'd come back up north and Mary J. Blige was running the roost. Because around 9192, What's the 411 came out. Mary J. Blige is a New Yorker. New England's right outside of New York. Well, my state is Connecticut. So all the kids were listening to Mary J. Blige. I remember in 94 coming back up north for school. Um, and I used to love the Ghost Town DJ song down in North Carolina. I remember a chick telling me up north, I'll never forget it. I was like, I love that song, Ghost Town DJs, isn't that? And she looked at me and said, that shit is so corny. And I can remember thinking, no, it's not. And you young people should know Ghost Town DJs because Sierra sampled it a few years ago. But my point is, you could make a song in one part of the country and it not be a hit in another, or even make it to the other part of the country. So I'm really glad to see Jack Harlow and his team getting Cadillac Dale paid because he deserves it. It's a phenomenal song. The original song's phenomenal. Um, I'd also like to say this song has allowed me to start listening to other Jack Harlow's songs in his music, and he's pretty dope. He looks, and this is off the subject, but Jack Harlow fine. Now, in life, there are fine white guys and hot white guys. Jack Harlow is fine. Now, usually I date black men, but when I go to the South, There's just something about Southern white men. And I think the Midwest got a little bit of that too. Because I done met a couple corn fed white boys from the Midwest and they always fucking fine. Jack Harlow's fine. That yellow white beater, that young man's rocking. Usually I don't look that young, but I was looking at him. And the way he has his tongue out in the beginning of the video, he's too sexy for his own good. Um, so shout out 1998. It's a hard knock life, babies, because he's pretty fine. I also want to talk about the visuals to the video. Um, all the young ladies are looking phenomenal in that video. The young men too. Even though the young men look like potheads, who cares? We all little potheads. That's okay. But the young ladies, thank you, Mr. Harlow and the director of the video for having the black girls. We actually get to see their faces. Clean faced black girls, sweet looking black girls. I didn't have to see their rear ends. I am so grateful for that. Black rappers, young black rappers coming into the game, you could take a lesson. We don't always have to see black women bent over. Even in the days of the video professionals in the early 2000s, Corinne Steffens, Melissa Ford, Gloria Velez, those type ladies, we at least got to see their faces. We don't get to see faces in black guys' videos no more. All the black women are bent the fuck over with fake bubble butts, and I'm sick of it. Not to take away from the other young ladies in this video, because Doll in the black dress with the nice rack with the blue behind her, beautiful. The white girl doing her gloss, beautiful. All the young ladies look great in that video. Black guys, can you take a lesson on that with your music? You don't always have to call girls hoes and all this other shit, and they don't always have to be bent over. The video's very well done, and I certainly appreciate that. Um, Now, I also want to say, off the back of that, for all you young women that walk around thinking it's always about sex, I went and listened to another song that I really liked by Mr. Harlow. That What's Poppin', the original and the remix. And he had a line saying, if his girl asked if deep throat hurts, and he said it does. And on the remix, Lil Wayne said, he better not feel no teeth. For as much as y'all walk around looking like sex, deep throat should never hurt a man. That's number one. And number two, you young women better appreciate how nice some of these young men are. Because that line by Lil Wayne, them niggas that are around my age that came up through the 80s, they're not as nice. They're not going to be as nice as that, especially in a rap lyric or in real life. So if you're going to walk around looking like sex, make sure you're good at it. No, I've never heard a rapper have a line like that in that song, What's Poppin'. But I can certainly appreciate the piano and the beat on that song. Whoever his producer is does a phenomenal job. Now, I do have one complaint about Lovin' on Me, but just one. I wish it was longer, guys. The song's only like 2.5 minutes. I wish it was about 3.5 minutes. However, I think it'll be redeemed on that remix because Jack Harlow's song went number one almost around this world. I actually looked up the charts and whatnot. It's doing well and it came out of nowhere. And I'm hoping the remix gets some really fly features and it's at least 4 minutes long. That would be real dope. I like to do this in my head with the new artists. To think of who would collab well from the 90s or 2000s. And in my head, and I know he's off left field, and I know he's a douchebag, but I would love to hear Ja Rule and Ashanti too on the remix of this song. And yes, I like 50 Cent. I think Curtis Jackson's amazing. He's a genius, but so is Ja Rule in his own right. And all that beef happened all them years ago. But when it comes to singing and women's songs and appreciating women, the win goes to Ja Rule. And once upon a time, 50 and nobody else could fuck with Ja Rule. Only one that could fuck with Ja Rule was Ja Rule for a minute. And for this type of song, he'd be phenomenal on it. Him or Pharrell for some reason, but don't ask me why Pharrell. He just popped into my head, but certainly Ja Rule. I would love to see a really, really dope remix for this song because it deserves it. And this has been the first song in a long time, with the exception of Megan Thee Stallion and maybe one or two Cardi B songs. I actually want to go out and dance. Actually, I'm going to put it a peg higher than Megan Thee Stallion songs, only because. And this is no salt on Megan because I love Megan Thee Stallion. But I'm not a twerkalicious babe like she is. My knees don't work like that. And a lot of her songs, that heavy beat and those heavy bass and the way the songs are constructed, you got to really be able to move on a Megan Thee Stallion song. Whereas with Jack Harlow, I can keep it at a two step, like my girl in the black dress. But I think the song was phenomenally done. And I like to reiterate, my last couple videos were on the verge of rant videos, but let me reiterate this again. Gen Z, I see you. I'm loving the phenoms coming out of Gen Z and the rock stars. It's the lames I don't like. But that's in any generation, and real recognizes real. And I like to see more or hear more music like this. I had said on a past video how Beyonce's song Break My Soul was garbage, and it's still garbage. If you're going to take a sample from the 90s, make sure it's not an obvious one, which she should know better because she's been in the game for over this year, 20 years solo. I appreciate being stomped and had to, what we used to call digging our crates back in the day. For you young people, when records, DJs used to have to use records, and when they do parties, they put records in milk crates. So when you got to look up something when it pertains to music, I always say digging my crates. So thank you, Jack Harlow, for making me do a little work on this song, or Jack Harlow's producer. And I really, really look forward to hearing more of this album going into 2024 because right now it's just a single. Guys, if you're going out this weekend, please be safe, make it home to your loved ones, and happy almost New Year. I'll be back. I'm out.